All right, functions. Let's get started with this new cycle. So use this to kind of get yourself prepped and ready for what's to come throughout the week. Really balanced. We got strength. We got some new neuro training along the way, and your classic workouts too as well. So let's talk about Mondays, how they're going to look. Mondays are going to be a upper body strength day. I wanted to work a little bit on building or focusing on one day where we just do upper body, and another day we work on lower body. So Mondays are going to be focused on that. We're going to basically do 3 movements, and we're just going to work on this throughout the cycle. So you guys are going to build strength doing this. You're going to build some coordination, stability, and also a cool thing you're going to develop is just learning how the weights feel, how much effort you're putting in, because we're going to work with what's called reps in reserve as well. So this is a really good tool to build some internal awareness of how challenging something is. So here's how this works. So for the strength portion, we're going to do bench press. Every set, we're going to do 6 to 12 reps. And I totally forgot, but this should be 3 sets of 6 to 12 reps of the bench press to 1 to 2 reps in reserve. So this week, this is the first week of doing this, so you will probably have to try out different weights and kind of feel it out. But the idea, what that means is we're going to be within that range, 6 to 12 reps, and we want to choose a weight that when we are getting to a point, like we're getting tired, and we feel like we have 1 to 2 reps in the tank before we need to kind of stop, that's when we're going to stop. So let's say I'm doing my bench press and then I get to rep 8 and then I'm like, oh wow, okay, maybe I can do 1 or 2 more reps. Okay, you're going to rack the bar at that point. So the idea is to get close to that challenge and fatigue, but we're not going to get to failure with each set there. So cool thing with that is not only you're building upper body strength, the coordination, all that stuff, but you're also building that internal awareness of what is challenging, when you should kind of stop and like manage your intensity. So that's something as a skill you're going to develop as you work on the strength work on Mondays here. So we're going to do that with bench press. So 3 sets of 6 to 12 reps to 1 to 2 reps in reserve. Then we're going to do that with a seated dual dumbbell overhead press. So pressing overhead. And then we're going to work on banded pull aparts to kind of like a little bit of a finisher. So all of these should be 3 sets. I totally forgot to put that in. I wonder if I did that for Saturday. And the idea here is, actually, I'm going to bump this up a little bit, 10 to 20 reps. Again, upper body strength is the focus, and like the reps in reserve are going to be a little bit newer for you guys, but it's going to be a really cool tool to just, again, build that internal awareness of where your effort levels are with each rep and each set. When we're done that, our workout, I wanted to do some kind of staple stamina tests or fitness tests for you guys. So really simple. The workout is rowing for calories. You're gonna do 5 rounds, 2 minutes on, 1 minute off, and we're just gonna try to see how many calories we can get within those 5 rounds. So it's a really good interval. We're working more than we were resting, and so it's going to challenge a little bit of our recovery, but then also challenge like how challenging of a pace can we hold with minimal rest too as well. So keep track of this. Make sure you're always tracking so that we can see how we progress. So the Mondays are going to be focused on upper body strength. Going into Wednesday and Thursday, these days I'm going to introduce more neuro work to you guys. So brain work. We want to make sure we are addressing that, working on different kinds of movements. We can sometimes get stuck or boxed in with gym movements, but there's so much more that's working around. And as you guys know, I always kind of harp on the brain-based stuff. Everything is kind of controlled from that. So we're going to focus on that on Wednesdays and Thursdays. So Wednesday's focus, we're going to actually focus on a brain area called the cerebellum. This does your accuracy, balance, and coordination. So every Wednesday, we're going to work on assessing kind of where that's at with some really fun, they're actually funny tests too as well. You'll kind of find some interesting things. We're going to basically see where our body's at, trying to figure out what side we want to work on, and also testing some range of motion, because I want you guys to use that as an assessment after you do every exercise. And as you do the exercises today, which are hip circles, shoulder circles, and VORs, I want you guys to test after the drill and see how your body responds. Do you have more range of motion? Do you have less range of motion? You're going to find high payoff drills or you're going to find rehab drills. And I really want you guys to record these because you're going to take these home and I want you to practice these drills at home. I'm going to show you guys how you can do that. And the cool thing is you're finding exercises that are addressing your nervous system specifically and starting to work on the areas that are a little bit more underactive. And this is going to help you guys move better, ton better. Now, better activation in the brain. Maybe some areas are not firing up. There's more imbalances on one side than the other. And when you start to add these exercises in, you'll notice your range of motion improves. You'll notice your movement patterning gets better and your balance gets better, coordination, accuracy. All of those things are part of that area of the brain called the cerebellum. So really cool stuff we're going to work on. So a lot of discovery, a lot of movement work, and also some take homes that you can start to actually practice. Then our workout, since we did all that brain work, we're just going to keep it simple. Just like Monday, this time on the assault bike, 5 rounds, 2 minutes on, 1 minute off. And again, we're going to use this as a simple kind of benchmark for your fitness so that in the future we can come back and reassess and see how we improved on this. So again, it's how many calories we can get done across those 5 rounds with 2 minutes of work with 1 minute rest. So that's Wednesday. And then Thursday, it's going to be a little bit more focused on proprioception and motor control. So we're going to learn where our joints are, our body is in space, and also the ability to control our joints and muscles through space. We're going to focus on different areas every week. This week, we're going to focus on the foot, the hand, ankles, and wrist. So the idea here is we're going to always work on the opposite joints too as well. So I'm going to the wrist and the hand are working in opposite with the the ankle and the foot. So how the wrist moves actually matters of how the ankle moves too as well. So there's a little bit of cross patterning happening, and you're going to see that theme of how we work on these movements each week. The idea is I'm going to take you guys through a cool little movement flow. We're going to work on how to move those joints in different ranges of motion and control them in different ranges of motion in the standard variations. We're going to try them loaded, and we're going to also try them in unique body positions. So we're going to practice that for kind of a 15-20 minutes, really getting those joints moving and kind of discovering different positions and seeing how it feels to better control those areas. So we're building better motor maps in our brain by doing these exercises. Then our workout is a chipper. We got for time 20 burpees, 20 air squats, 20 ring rows, 20 lunges, 20 inchworms, and then 20 burpees, air squats, ring rows, lunges, and then again 20 burpees, air squats, ring rows, and then 20 burpees, and then air squats. So the last movement is getting cut out every time. You see the burpees repeat every single time. The idea here is to be moving for those 20 minutes. So pick progressions that make sense to you, that you can keep good form, good mechanics. You're taking little breaks here and there, but you're consistently moving for those 20 minutes. We kind of want to get a little bit of an aerobic stimulus out of this one. So that's Wednesday and Thursday. Thursdays is the more body awareness, joint control, coordination. The Wednesdays are going to be focused on the cerebellum. So we're actually firing up a certain part of the brain with certain exercises and actually noticing like the differences when we work on one side versus the other. Going into our Saturday workout, just like Monday, we're just going to flip it around and work on the lower body. So lower body strength is the focus. We got 3 sets of 6 to 12 air squats. Actually, I think I wrote that wrong here. Oh, no, I got it right. So 3 sets of 6 to 12 squats to 1 to 2 reps in reserve. So just like Monday, where it's like we're focusing on building internal awareness of how much effort we're putting and when to kind of stop. A lot of the times I see people just kind of like go to failure in every single set. No, the idea is to make sure you're moving as sound as possible. And then when you see movement mechanics break down, you stop at that point. This is going to be kind of pushing a little bit close to that line because we want to build some strength too. So there's going to be a little bit of fatigue that builds up with this. But squats are going to focus on first, then lunges, and then single leg calf raises to finish off. So make sure you write down your progressions, and then you want to stay within those rep ranges and also go to 1 to 2 reps in reserve there. Then our workout fairly straightforward. 10 minutes, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10 skips. So it could be single skips, it could like with a skipping rope, or it could be jumping and tapping on the side, and then 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5 of ground overhead. So it goes skips, ground overhead, skips, ground overhead. So 50, 30, 40, 25, 30, 20, and then all the way down until you finish the last round of 10 and 5. So short and quick, and you want to be choosing progressions where you move in just the whole time for the 10 minutes there. So, and then Saturdays are lower body themed workout, and then Saturdays we're going to keep the community WODs going. Turned out really well. We're going to focus on just open workouts, but we're going to do them in teams. So I want you guys to kind of get that open workout theme going for those Sundays. This one is a 20-minute AMRAP, 4 dumbbell thrusters, 6 toes to bar, and then 24 double unders. So scale with dumbbell squats, or even just like a light weight for those dumbbell thrusters. These are meant to be 2 dumbbells. It could be sit-ups that we do, or if you are feeling good, you want to try hanging from the bar and do some knee raises, that would be awesome. Some skips, or jump and side taps, and then we're going to go into some shuttle runs, or even just do some walks, 25 feet out, 25 feet back. The idea is to just keep moving for this one, have a little bit of fun, get a little bit of dose of the open kind of workouts. And that'll be the first week of your programming, guys. And then stay tuned for next week's programming overview. Have a good one.